Hey y'all, it is Mary Hyatt and welcome to the Mary Hyatt Show. I am super excited to be with you guys on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, lunchtime, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to make sure, as you guys know, that I am going live for real before we actually start the show. So just give me 1 minute to make sure that we've got all this going on. This is the beauty of being a one-woman show. And for those of you who are watching, just so that you know, if you want to bypass the beginning of this, you can always fast forward, of course. Or if you didn't know, the audio version of this is available on my podcast. And if you just go to the Mary Hyatt Show, you will be able to listen to today's show and all of my previous episodes right there in the comfort of your car, on your way to work, wherever you're going, on the audio version. So just go to the Mary Hyatt Show podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and you will be good to go. And I do have to ask, while you are there, I would love it if you would subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast. As you guys know, I'm real with y'all every week. I'm doing this totally organically, and I want to get up in the ratings. I want people to hear this. I want people to be a part of what we're talking about every single week, and I can only do that if you rate me with 5 stars. It would be even better if you could write me out a personal description on your podcast app that says, I love this show, it's so great, and anything else that you might want to share about your experience as a listener. That would be incredible. So, of course, that is my little ask for you guys today. But like I said, I am Mary Hyatt. I have a fabulous episode all about commitment. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. But before we do, let's start the show. Hey y'all, it is Mary Hyatt and welcome to the Mary Hyatt Show. I am just so thrilled to be with you today. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking all about commitment. Now, my lovely producer, aka my assistant, just told me my mic is too loud. I tried to adjust the mic, and I've got a new setup today because the sound has been so terrible. So let me just turn this down, and hopefully this will be a little bit better. I'm a loud talker anyways, but guys, this show is going to be really important to listen to if you have ever experienced trouble committing to anything in your life. I often have this problem. I'm one of those people that is very, how can I say this? Non-committal. I like a lot of variety. I always like to change things up for myself. I like to do a little of this, a little bit of that. I like to have a lot of things going on at once. And this commitment piece has really bitten me in the butt in the past, which is why I feel like I can talk about it now, because I have had extensive experience with practicing the art of commitment, really working on doing this as a discipline, because I know how invaluable that it is. And for me, as a life coach, I have so many people, even on my doTERRA team, who are coming to me, or my coaching clients, or just some of you guys who are watching and listening, and you send me an email and you talk to me about wanting to change your life. I've had so many people come to me and say, Mary, I mean, I really want to make more money in my business. Or people come to me and say, I want to stop hating my body, or I want to have a deeper, intimate relationship with my partner, or I simply want to enjoy life more. I want to figure out who I am. I want to heal from some of my past wounds and trauma. And y'all want change. I mean, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast without wanting change, without wanting something better, something different for your life. But what I see happen over and over again is that people start out with the best intentions. You know, they get really super excited about making change. And I kind of laugh. I'm like, seriously, how many times have we all done this in one form or another? Like, okay, I'm going to get, this is me recently, by the way. Okay, I'm going to get really into photography, and I start watching all these videos on YouTube, and I went out and bought a new camera, and I got a new lens, and I kind of was, before I got off social media, I was crowdsourcing on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, what courses do I need to take on photography? What books do I need to read? What YouTube shows do I need to watch? Maybe, I mean, I know for me, I even considered getting an online photography course and like going through it and actually learning everything there from A to B. And fast forward, I lose interest. Somewhere along the way, I get annoyed that it's a little bit too hard. I get a little bit annoyed that I have to actually read the instruction manual, that I start looking at this camera and I'm like, I don't even know what the heck to do with this. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what this means. I don't know what the ISO means. I don't know what these numbers mean and these dials. And I put that camera into a cabinet somewhere in my house, and I don't even actually know where it is right now because somewhere it is collecting dust. My, $1,000 camera is collecting dust somewhere in my house. And I started out really excited. I started out really enthusiastic. Like, this is going to be my new hobby. How many times have y'all done that? Who is with me? Who is with me? If you were watching the YouTube live show, comment and let me know if there is something in your life that you set out really strong to commit to, and then you lost interest, it got tough, it got scary, and you put it down. I mean, so many people say, like, I'm going to work on my marriage, and they go to therapy for 3 or 4 times, and they get into it, and they go, whoa, this is too much, and they stop. Or we say, okay, I'm going to start moving my body again. I'm going to start getting a little bit more active. I want to feel more energy in my body. And something comes up, we get sick, the kids go back to school, and then they have homework to do, and that takes up our time. Or maybe we have something come up with work, and we stop moving our bodies. How many times have we set out at the beginning of the month to crush our business goals, to make it happen, to hit a new goal, to, like, if you're in my doTERRA, downline, you're going to hit a new rank, you're going to go for it. And then halfway through the month, you're over it. And things start getting busy and you get distracted and you start kind of putting your attention somewhere else. I mean, the reality is that this is so common. Samantha, you're saying yes all the time. Yeah, right? It's like, this is so common for us. And I see this in my coaching clients all the time. And what I have learned is that this is because we are missing the commitment piece. Okay? It starts with desire. We have to have belief. But what we're missing is that commitment piece. In order to get something, in order to achieve success, you have to have the commitment. And as Brooke Castillo, who is a master life coach who I love and I follow and have studied with her, she says our level of commitment is what determines our success. So many of us have the desire. So many of us start out with all of that intention, all of that enthusiasm, all of that interest, all of that desire. We really, really, really want it. And usually we have a level of belief that we can do this, because usually what we're interested in is something that we maybe feel like is a little bit easier for us. Maybe it's a strength of ours. Maybe we feel like we have some skills that we can do this. So we have a belief part. Now, sometimes that's the area that we have to work on, is the belief that we are capable, the belief that we can actually do it, that we are smart enough, that we are resourceful enough. And we have to work on some of those limiting beliefs that we have surrounding success. But 9 times out of 10, the area where we need to spend our time, if we want to have a life where we are fully alive, where we feel better energetically than we do now, there's more joy, there's more fulfillment, deeper relationships, a more successful career, a healthier, more thriving, energetic body, a great sex life, we have to have the commitment. Because here's what happens. It gets hard. Can I get an amen? Who has felt like this has been a little bit of a challenging year? It gets hard, y'all. It gets uncomfortable. We realize, oh my God, this is taking a lot of my time. We are kind of being called in like psychological terms, when we kind of revert back to our childlike energy, it's like our toys are being taken away. When we start committing to something, that means we say no to other things. And so our toys get taken away. The pleasure, the things that are easy, the things that we just sort of do. Maybe we stop watching TV in order to accomplish a goal. Maybe we have to say no to other commitments to fulfill the larger commitment. We have to make sacrifices. And along the way, as you're building your business even, people are going to say no to you. Deals are going to fall through. Financial resources may not be available to you. Someone quits on you. Your feelings get hurt. Your kids get sick. A tree falls on your house. You know, maybe you have a partner who questions why you're doing what you're doing and doesn't fully support you. We start doubting. We start letting these fears creep in. And if we don't have our commitment to fall back on, we quit. We move back to what is comfortable, to what is easy. We start doing what we've always done. And as we know, if we keep doing that, we're going to just get more of what it is that we've always had. So in order to create a new life, to create more success, more fulfillment, deeper love, whatever it is that you want to be different in your life, we have to commit to doing it. Now, I'm going to keep kind of referring to Brooke Castillo, and you can find her on the Life Coaching School podcast. She's amazing. I'm going to keep referencing her today because she's really shaped how I view this idea of commitment. Because like I said, this has been an area in my life that has been challenging because I sort of have the shiny ball syndrome, you know, like, ooh, that's shiny. Like, let me come over here. Squirrel. You know, I'm always sort of like going, you know, from here to here to here. But after all, when you think about commitment, this is how Brooke describes it. She says, it's not, I'll do it and see if it works, or I'll do it until it gets hard. No, commitment is, I will do it regardless. You aren't going to be weighing other options. And this quote by Jack Canfield, he said, once you make a 100% commitment to something, there are no exceptions. It's a done deal, non-negotiable, case closed, over and out. Your stance is knowing that you are going to be showing up for yourself. You're going to be showing up for your dreams, for your goals, regardless of what happens along the way. And what I truly love about committing to something 100% is that it doesn't leave the door open for other possibilities. Like I said, this quote, I mentioned this in the email newsletter that I sent out yesterday. 99% is a bitch, 100% is a breeze. I remember the first time that I read that quote and I was like, yes, preach it. So freaking good. 99% is a bitch, 100% is a breeze. I mean, to me, nothing could be more true. And I never could have articulated it in that lovely, eloquent of ways. But, I mean, it really is so true. Because think about this. Think about 99%. 99% is so exhausting because every day you have to make the decision over again. When you're at 99%, you have to muster up all of that willpower for yourself to say yes again. But when you're at 100%, you aren't wrestling with that. You're not wavering. You know that the decision has already been made. You aren't wasting all of that emotional, mental energy debating in your mind whether or not you're going to actually do something again. It's done. It's a done deal, like Jack Canfield said. It's non-negotiable. And so think about this for a second. Think about something that you are 100% committed to in your current life. Like something that is just a non-negotiable. Maybe you don't even think about it anymore. A long time ago, for example, I bought into the belief that when you make your bed, it sets your day off to a better start. It's better for your mental energy, for your emotional well-being. It's kind of that old saying, like the state of your bed is the state of your head. And I started making my bed years ago after every day, just not even caring to make it or going back and forth of, should I make it today? Do I have energy to make it today? Do I have time to make my bed today? I just decided that sort of as like a non-negotiable in my life, every day, no matter what was going on, I was going to make my bed. Now that's something simple that I committed to a long time ago that I never even think about anymore. And so I make my bed every single day. And I don't have to wonder when I wake up, okay, should I make my bed today? There's zero decision fatigue. I'm not going back and forth. I just do it. I'm 100% committed. And I kind of have made the same commitment. And as you're thinking about this, as you're hearing me talk, think about this for yourself. Where have you made sort of those 100% commitments that you sort of forgot that you made those 100% commitments? Because we're going to build on that a little bit. But for me, like I'm the same way in my business, in my doTERRA business, for example. As an entrepreneur, this sort of 100% commitment is really crucial. And I know that no matter what kind of challenges come my way, no matter what kind of obstacles are on my path, no matter if a doTERRA builder quit on me, no matter if I teach an Essential Oils 101 class and nobody enrolls with me, I am committed and focused on that goal to continually create and sustain a powerful, powerhouse doTERRA team that changes lives through the power of educating people on essential oils. That doesn't mean that I may have any clue. Like when I started my doTERRA business, I had no idea how to actually do that. And I'll be honest, when I started, I wasn't fully committed. And I remember I got to a certain point in my doTERRA business and things were going okay. I had people that were interested, that were kind of coming alongside of my team, but I got an idea to start another business. And so with my sort of like shiny ball squirrel syndrome personality, I looked over to my left and I'm like, ooh, I can create this. And one of my things that I love to do is start projects. That's one of my strengths. That's one of my passions, something that I really enjoy. So I had this idea for a new business. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do this new business. And I started fleshing out the website. I bought the domain. I started visualizing and kind of creating a business plan for this business. And I met with a mentor of mine at the time. And I was talking about sort of starting this new business. And thank God for him. He looked at me and he said, Mary, he said, you need to commit yourself 100% to doTERRA, where you eliminate all other things for right now and you go all in and you take this business all the way to the end. And I like being challenged. So I liked that. And it was sort of a sobering moment for me. And I sort of had this moment of waking up and going, okay, like I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do this. Now I need to be committed. So I set aside that other business idea at the time. And not that that was forever. It wasn't like I couldn't go back to that or do it at another point in time. But that I committed to what I set out to do. And I sort of re-enrolled in my commitment to my business to where now it's a non-negotiable. And fast forward a couple years later, I am one of the highest ranks in the company, making a multiple six-figure income. And I get to work with these amazing women day in and day out to empower people with essential oils. I get to work on self-discovery, leadership, helping women own their businesses for the first time, host retreats, inspire people. Like, I freaking love this work. And it's incredibly financially rewarding, along with being, spiritually and emotionally rewarding as well. But I could have never gotten to this place now if I hadn't made the decision to go in 100%, to fully commit, to tuck all of my excuses, everything at the door, and say, come hell or high water, I'm going to freaking build this business. So think about maybe another area in your life. Think about if you're married or if you're in a committed relationship. Let's say that you have committed to monogamy. It's not going to be on your mind every day to go to a bar and pick up somebody, or scroll through dating sites, or swipe through your Tinder or Bumble account. You're committed, period, with one person. It's not even a conversation in your mind. And so when I think about commitment, if we sort of boil it down, it is all about consistency. It means that you are showing up way past that moment of initial desire. You're showing up, think about a relationship, way past those butterfly feelings. You're sticking in it even when that doubt comes in, even when that fear comes in, even when you look at your person and you go, I freaking hate you right now. I love you, but I kind of hate you right now. But I'm committed. I'm not going to run when it gets tough. I'm not going to leave when I'm not getting my way, or when I've failed, or when I've tried something that isn't working. It's not open for negotiation. Even when I think to myself, God, I'm so sick and tired of this, or I am so exhausted, or I have no freaking idea how to do this, or when I start questioning my own self, like, who am I to do this? Everybody's just going to think I'm a complete fraud. I don't know enough. Who am I to lead? Who am I to build this business? Who am I to actually love? Or you might think, I don't have enough time, or I don't know enough people, or I don't really actually know how to do this, or this is too hard. There are plenty of people who have less money than you, less time than you, less education than you, less friends than you, who have been successful in their life in some fashion or another because they have decided and committed to move forward because they really deeply want it. And I know that for me, the moment that my desire begins to wane is because I know at that point I've gotten out of my comfort zone. Like, that's when it starts to get hard. Like, when I'm excited at the beginning about making change, whether that's moving my body or nourishing my body or working on my affirmations or stop hating myself or committing to journaling every day or working with a therapist or hiring a coach or building this business or, deepening my relationship with my boyfriend and healing some of those things that we have going on and outside of our relationship. When I, set out to do it, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But when I move out of my comfort zone and it stops being easy and it gets uncomfortable and it gets awkward and it gets really vulnerable and it gets scary, and when I have to do things that I've never done before and I start thinking like, oh my God, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be, or, oh shit, like I actually have to work at this. I actually have to work, or, oh, this is a business. It's not just a hobby. Like, this is a business. Or, God, I'm so sick of going round and round and round this issue again. That is when my commitment is what is going to get me through. That is the power. And as Brooke Castillo said, she said, for some of you, it may be safety. For some of you, it may be the avoidance of discomfort. For some of you, it may be that you're afraid. And so you want to hide. That is much more. You believe that it will be too much work. You believe that it will be too hard. You're afraid of putting yourself out there in the world and being vulnerable. And that is why we need to have a plan to be 100% in. This is why most people are not successful, because they don't know what it looks like to be 100% in. So I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to share my 4 ways to be 100% in. But before I do that, I want to remind you to sign up for my newsletter. This is where you're going to get all of my information about my upcoming YouTube live shows and my podcast episodes. I am currently in the process of creating several retreats that you are not going to want to miss. Transformational retreats. One that is going to be over a weekend. One that is going to be in Peru, a 10-day self-discovery retreat in Peru with me. And this is the only way that you are going to find out about this, because as you know, I am off social media, so you won't find me announcing this on Instagram or Facebook. And the only way to be up to date with all of the things that I'm doing and offering and creating, make sure to sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the video description. And if you are listening to the podcast, you can go to maryhyatt.com and get my newsletter there. And when you get that, you are also going to get my free ebook of the 5 mistakes you're making with your affirmations. So lots of awesome stuff there. So make sure to sign up for my newsletter. Okay, so now let's talk about the 4 ways to be 100% all in. What does this actually look like? So the first way, and I talk about this a lot because to me it is sort of a foundational principle for all of life, of creating what it is that you want. And the first way is to uncover your compelling reason. In order for you to be fully committed, you have to have an emotionally compelling reason to stay in the fight when the going gets tough. Which, spoiler alert, it's gonna get tough, okay? We all know it. So when you decide to commit to changing a behavior, maybe to changing an addiction, to building a new business, to learning a new hobby, a new skill, maybe it is committing to improving your relationship, to devoting yourself to your self-discovery journey and your process, to just grow as a human being, it's going to open the door to risk. And so you have to know why it's worth it to take that risk, because you're going to be opening yourself up to vulnerabilities, to new fears. You're going to have to be doing a lot of things you've never done before, and you've got to identify what's at stake, why it matters to you on such a deep, compelling reason to create this change. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? So that you push through when it gets uncomfortable. Your reason for committing, your reason for believing, okay, I can do something. I choose to do something. I'm willing to commit to this. I'm willing to move forward even though there is risk involved. Your reason for committing has to be overwhelmingly compelling, emotionally compelling. That means that it has got to stir you on an emotional level. It's got to feel so big, so important, so compelling that you will literally do whatever it takes to get there. And I mean whatever it takes. When the shit hits the fan and you are like on the floor having a panic attack, you got to know your compelling reason. You got to know why you are in it, why it's worth it, why you have to do it right now, why you're not going to wait, why it matters to get into action now. Now, this doesn't have to be some ethical, impressive reason. Like, I want to open up an orphanage, and so I need all this money to open up an orphanage and save all these children from sex trafficking. That may be your compelling reason. But if that is just an idea that sounds good but actually doesn't stir your heart, then it's not going to be compelling for you. It may be simply to feel important and to be noticed. It may simply be to, and this is not even that simple, but to pay off your debt. And what would happen if you paid off your debt? What would you get? How would your life change? How would your relationships improve? What would be different? What would be easier? What stress would be eliminated? How would you feel? Would you feel at peace? Would you feel at ease? Would you feel inspired? Would you feel motivated? What is your compelling reason? You've got to uncover that if you're going to be 100% in. Otherwise, it's just going to sound good on paper, but it's not going to move you emotionally, and so you'll be at that 99%. So the first way to be 100% in is that you have to uncover your compelling reason. So my encouragement is to do kind of like a free form writing where you write out like for 10 minutes and you just go like crazy on your journal with your paper to the pen, or your pen to your paper, and you just start writing out what it might be until you get to that thing that it's like, bam, it just hits you in your knower. You go, yep, that's it. That is it. Maybe you start crying. Maybe it moves you. But you got to journal this out. You got to like actually set aside some time to think through it, to pause to find that compelling reason. Now, the second way to be 100% in is that you have to decide to commit. Now, committing is a choice. And this is where you get to sort of put this line in the sand and make the decision where you say to yourself, I am committing to whatever it is, XYZ, no matter what. And I am not going to give up. Ken Blanchard said, there is a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you access no excuses, only results. Deciding to commit means that you are all in. You have to literally kind of have this moment with yourself where you look yourself in the eyes and you decide that you are going to take that leap. Think about marriage. You know, there's no guarantees with marriage, right? But you say your vows at the altar. You take that leap into committing to somebody 100%. And at the end of the day, I look at commitment as an integrity issue with yourself. It means that you do what you say that you're going to do. It's sort of that personal integrity. You stay in alignment with your commitment. You do what you say you're going to do. And you don't have a plan B. Jen Sincero, who is the author of You Are a Badass, she says, if you've made a backup plan, you haven't made a decision. If you've made a backup plan, you haven't made a decision. If you have a plan B, you're not 100% in. If you say, oh, I'm going to try this, you're not 100% in. That's not full commitment. That's just doing it until it gets hard. Okay, this is one of my favorite ways to be 100% in, and I don't think a lot of people talk about this, so I'm excited to share way number 3 with you, and that is to be your own parent. And this is really a beautiful exercise for yourself because it's a way for you to sort of access your higher self, that mature, wise sort of version of yourself. It's the one who knows that, hey, you're going to want to go play with your toys when you want to do your chores, or it's the one who knows that you're going to probably want to have a temper tantrum or rebel, and it lovingly yet firmly says no. Being a good parent to yourself kind of reminds you to do your homework. You know, it's like, all right, before you get your dessert or before you can go out and play, you got to do your homework. And it keeps you accountable to that. Being a good parent makes sure that you are getting adequate rest, that you are nourishing yourself with eating foods that really give your body energy. Being a good parent doesn't allow for somebody talking back to them. It has strong boundaries. A good parent says no often more times than it says yes, because it knows that what you want is not necessarily what you need. So we have to sort of parent ourselves in this process of commitment. And our brain is going to sort of tell us, like our childlike brain is going to tell us, hey, go towards pleasure. Avoid pain. It wants what it wants. It wants what's easy. It wants what it knows. It wants what's comfortable. It wants what's familiar. Your kind of childlike brain is going to tell you, hey, it's hard. So this is too hard. Or it's going to tell you to give up. It wants to expend sort of the least amount of effort as possible. And so we have to be prepared to manage our sweet little childlike brain and tell it no. We have to be our own parent if we want to create a better life. If we are going to get a different result in our lives, we have to get really good at saying no to ourselves when it stays in alignment with our commitment. We got to get comfortable telling ourselves no, because our primitive brain is always going to revert to what's easy. It's going to start justifying. It's going to start telling us it's okay. Well, so-and-so gave up, or, so-and-so did this, and, they're pretty happy in their life, or, I read this, and, it told me I didn't really need to work at this hard, or whatever. We're going to have all these justifications. We're also going to have fear. We're also going to have doubt. We're questioning all of that. And this is where we go, no, come back to the commitment. Come back to the accountability. Come back to the personal integrity. And that is where we have to sort of access that higher self and be our own parent. We got to say no to ourselves. And if we're going to get what it is that we actually want out of life, not just what feels good in the moment, not just what's temporary, not just what's pleasurable right now, but the long-lasting, long-term happiness that we're really after, we're going to be saying no to ourselves a lot in the short term. Okay? So that's the third way. Now the fourth and final way to be 100% in is to know what I call your bounce back recipe. Okay, so here's what I mean by that. Y'all, let's be honest. There are going to be obstacles along this way. There are going to be setbacks. There's going to be failure. You're going to have to restart over and over again. You're going to have to change your approach. You're going to have to tweak. You're going to have to adjust this process as you're moving forward into sort of an unknown territory towards what it is that you're after. There are going to be all of these people telling you can't do it, these voices in your head telling you you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not rich enough, you don't have enough time. And so if we're going to be 100% in, fully committed, then we are going to need to have a game plan for when it gets tough. I love this concept. It's like we're sort of anticipating, we're sort of looking in the future and anticipating, hey, what could go wrong here? Where is my desire going to wane? When am I going to get off track? What might happen that would make me feel defeated? What might happen that would zap my energy? What might happen that would make me forget this commitment? And before any of that ever even happens, I want to have a plan of action. I want to have my bounce back recipe. My A plus B plus C equals D, and I'm back in the game. So when I feel like I want to give up, when I want to quit, when I stop showing up, when I start rebelling, when I start avoiding, I know my recipe is I could say, okay, when that happens, I'm going to reach out to my girl, Sarah. And she's agreed to kind of kick my ass and say, hey, remember you really, really want this? Remember why you really, really want this? Maybe you call your therapist. Maybe you call your coach. Maybe you have somewhere listed your why. Again, that compelling reason, why it matters. And you go revisit that. Maybe you start reading a book like You Are a Badass. Again, maybe you revisit a book or a podcast that was really motivating to you, really inspiring to you, that reminds you why it matters and get you back in the game. Maybe you go and you enroll in a workshop. Like whatever it is, this is unique to you. This is your own personal bounce back recipe. You've got to create that ahead of time. So my encouragement, along with sort of taking your journal out and writing out your compelling reason, write out and define your bounce back recipe. What does that look like? What's your plan? When you get discouraged, I want this to be in your journal so that you can kind of flip back into your pages and go, oh yeah. Here's my recipe. Here's what I do. Like when I'm on the floor and when I'm depressed, or if I'm having a panic attack, or I'm just crying, or I'm just like, screw it, man. I'm over it. Over and out and peace out. I'm done. I'm quitting. And we're all going to have those moments. I want to be able to flip back to my journal, to my bounce back recipe, and go, right, okay, here's my action plan. Because when we're in those moments of fear and doubt and panic and whatever, oftentimes we don't have the ability to see through it and to sort of get ourselves to that place. And that's why we sort of need to think about it ahead of time. And you want to look back and go, why does this matter? What is my recipe to launch back into this? How was I feeling when my desire was fresh, when I was excited? Let me connect back to that feeling. What does that look like? Do I need to put on some music? Do I need to go dance around? Whatever that is, you want to have that bounce back recipe. So those are my 4 ways for you to begin to be 100% all in. You got to uncover that compelling reason. You have to decide to commit. You got to be your own parent, even when it's not fun, and you've got to know your bounce back recipe. So I want to ask you a hard question. When you think about what it is that you've really been wanting to create, or the change in your life that you've been really meaning to make, why haven't you committed to it yet? Why haven't you committed 100% yet? And looking at this with the lens of compassion, not judgment. We're just exploring. We're getting curious. This is not a time to throw shame on yourself or go, God, well, if you were just stronger or had more willpower or whatever. No, this is like we're wanting to see like what's really getting in the way here from you 100% committing. What are you afraid of? So I want you to jot this down. And this is kind of the phrase is going to look like this. In quotes, I want to blank. What is it that you want to do? Or what is it that you want to create? I want to create a thriving doTERRA business. I want to become a life coach. I want to open up a gym. I want to write a book. I want to heal my marriage. I want to feel more energetic in my body. I want to move my body. I want to take a painting class. Whatever it is, what does that want? I want to. What is the change that you're wanting to make? And then answer the second part of this question, which is, but I'm afraid that, ... What are you afraid of? Are you afraid you'll fail? Are you afraid that you don't know how to do it? Are you afraid that you'll be a fraud? Are you afraid that you don't have enough time, enough money? Whatever that might be. Whatever it is, get it out on paper so that you can look at what those demons are, what those limiting beliefs are, what those judgments towards yourself are. So that's where your work begins. When you can start rewriting those beliefs. And that you know that even though you might feel like you're going to fail, even though you might feel like you don't know enough, even though you might feel like you don't have enough time or enough money or whatever, that you start repeating to yourself and saying to yourself that you are fully resourceful, that everything that you need will be offered and given to you if you don't already have it, that everything in its right timing will come to be, that you will be led every step of this way, that you in your imperfect nature are perfectly capable of creating this change. You have what it takes. You can do this. Affirming to yourself that if you can just pair desire and belief with commitment and you are like sold 100% in, you will figure it out. You will figure it out. You have 100% success rate so far of getting through life. You're going to figure it out. Even when you don't know, even when you're scared, even when you're at your end, you are fully supported and cared for. You are held and protected. Life loves you. Life is on your same team and only wants the best and highest good for your life. Repeating that to yourself. And that's when you go back to number one, uncovering your compelling reason, because that will push you over the fear. When your reason is compelling enough, it will be bigger than those fears, bigger than those limiting beliefs, bigger than those voices. And then you can decide to commit 100% in. And that's why that first way is the most important. So I just want to encourage you, like, y'all, you got this. You so got this. And when you eliminate all other options, all their plan Bs, all of their backup plans, and you dive in 100%, it becomes a breeze. It's no longer a bitch. It is a breeze. And I'm here to tell you, I've done this so many times in so many different areas of my life where I make that, personal decision to commit to whatever it is that I'm doing, come hell or high water. And then I get to work. Then it becomes easy. It becomes fun. It becomes a challenge that I get to figure out because I'm committed. So I hope that you will slow down to see where it is that you are resisting commitment, kind of re-enrolling yourself into that commitment 100% in, and create an amazing life, amazing business, an amazing relationship for yourself. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. I can't wait to be with you next week. And until then, remember that the purpose of life is to be grateful, to be great, and to be full. See y'all next week.